This week we had two readings. The first one was, well, the first thing that I did, I watched Peter Herzberg's TED Talk on the web and TV, A Sibling Rivalry, which was made in, I believe, 2007. And then there was a 10-page reading on the cultural logic of media convergence written by Jenkins, which was in the International Journal of Cultural Studies. And I thought they were both very interesting. TED Talk, or Peter Hirschberg's TED Talk, was very engaging, and it was interesting to see like his interactive presentation. I don't know, it was much more interactive than I would have expected. And I would like to see what the audience was like, and it was interesting to hear them like laughing in the background. Although it didn't seem like they laughed as much as he wanted them to laugh because his witty remarks didn't seem like witty remarks. They were more like offensive, and they were interesting, but it was hard to see that they were actually funny and him being funny. Anyway, um, I thought he did a pretty good job summing up the relationship between the computer and the television because it's pretty tough. Well, it's something that we really didn't learn about in class, and I guess that's why he talked about it, um, or that why Peter Hirschberg delves into this topic, is because not a lot of people talk about it. The computer, he talks about how it emerged because of the atomic bomb and with like the Cold War against Russia and everything, and developing the hydrogen bomb and the atomic bomb. And I thought that was interesting because I didn't really know that that's why computers arose. And I guess I did, but he had this one statistic where it was like we spent three times the amount of money making a computer system that protected us against the atomic bomb when we only spent a third on the Manhattan Project developing the atomic bomb. So I thought that was interesting. And then he had some graphic of like how much space a computer would take up, but that graphic didn't really make sense. There were just a bunch of things popping up, so I thought that was kind of weird. Um, but yeah, and I thought another really good point that he talked about was Internet One. I guess this may be something that's very well known, but hadn't heard of it before. Internet One was about pages, and Internet Two is about people. And I thought that was very insightful because nowadays it's all about social media and like social networking and people blogging to one another, and um, that's that's mainly what the second reading about or was about. Jenkins, he talked about uh, the like audience and the cultural logic of media convergence. So we talked a lot about convergence and stuff, and between like the media conglomerates and the political system, the political um, I don't know, like governmental policies and agencies, and then the people like fans and just the relationship between them. And I thought it's a really good point to talk about audiences nowadays because it's much more narrowcast as opposed to broadcasts, and fan pages and fan sites are like the way of the future. And there was a bunch, it was interesting how it was Jenkins wrote his article. It was more like posing questions for the future as opposed to laying out facts, I guess, which is different than a lot of the readings we've been talking about. And I guess it's more because it's talking about the future and like what we should be paying attention to in media studies nowadays. And it kind of reminds me of my essay, my interactive essay that I did for a semester project, because I focused on like a lot of the history, but then all of a sudden I was like, future questions, and then I had some of my own like theories, but this guy Jenkins didn't really have a lot of his theories. He just said, "This is what it's like now. What will it be like in the future?" And then he just leaves it as a question. So I thought that was kind of weird, but there were good questions. The one that I find most interesting is audiences, like I said earlier, fan sites. I think that actually is like the future of media consumption, media like that is the future to how producers will know what kind of content to make is by listening to their fans. and instead of going backwards where it used to be broadcast to a wide variety of people and being the least, what was the phrase, the least objectionable or something, it's going to be like the most specific kind of programs we're going to see in the future. Because the more obsessed you are about a show, the more you're willing to pay for a show to continue, or I don't know, buy their t-shirts and stuff. The more, like, the bigger following you're going to have, and the more dedicated customer or consumer, I guess. All right, that's my blabber number 2. It was fun. Okay, bye.